Alright, hey everyone, and welcome to D&D Vlogs, episode 5, Long Live the King. Yeah, my random title that I came up with. So this episode takes place right after the last episode. And really quick, the last episode ended with, us returning to the tavern or, our respective locations, after grieving the death of Eragon, after our fight with War. We are all awoken, well, most of us are woken up by the sounds of, fighting and chaos in the streets, explosions, all this other crazy crap. Basically, orcs have come to invade the kingdom, which I totally forget the name of right now, which is really bad. But yeah, there's fighting in the streets, yada yada, rush out to deal with stuff. I go out first, Elle's with me. Toby and the last kicker, well, hey, they're still pretty hungover, so they're like, 5 more minutes, I'm tired, and yeah. Eventually some crazy stuff happens, so we are forced to return, we're forced to get them, come back out onto the streets. Meanwhile, up at the castle, Goku, David's new character, is, dealing with the orcs up at the castle, and he's sent out into the city to try and find people and direct them up to the castle, for safety reasons. Everybody's gathered in the castle. We can defend that spot. We can clear out the orcs, yada yada. Well, he's sent out into the city, and he stumbles across us, quite literally. Like, basically, the point where our two stories meet is, we're all outside. We hear a child scream, and a child is being pursued by a group of orcs. 3 orcs chasing 1 child. We're all chasing after, trying to save the kid. Toby makes a grand burst of speed, catches the child before the orcs axe, to split the kid in half, basically. And for some reason, Goku, David, was distracted and literally trips over Toby. Red Dragon, Dragonborn guy trips over a dwarf. We have a quick fight, with the orcs. 3 war chiefs, apparently. So, if you're a fan of Warcraft, imagine, 3 thralls or Gromhell screams. I really liked Warcraft 3. It was a fun game. We defeated them, and we moved on to, getting more people evacuated up to the castle. Unfortunately, the castle was not as safe as we would have liked it to have been. There was some serious fighting up at the castle. We were passed through, luckily, because unfortunately some orcs had gotten through. We went down, different hallways, cleared stuff out, and ultimately found ourselves near the throne room, where there was some serious signs of bad stuff going down. A couple of magic users were hanging outside the door. We scared them off. We busted through the door, which, by the way, was being reinforced with a metal bar. I presume, a defense mechanism thing to hold it, against attackers. Well, Goku and Toby kicked the crap out of the door and broke the steel beam, essentially giant deadbolt, I guess is the best description that I can think of for it. And yeah, we made our way inside the throne room. Yeah, that was a mistake. Because we found the Shadow King holding the Queen of the Land aloft. Now, really quick, just for reference, the Queen is, is having a good relationship with Toby, and, they're probably going to hook up later. It seems to be the implication so far. But, yeah, upon hearing, this giant steel beam broken into pieces, he turns around, faces us, sees Elle, and he just points at her. You! Because she's the last living Emerald Vanguard member. And basically another combat breaks out. The first thing the Shadow King does, and I will refer to him probably as the King after this, if I do, he used the mirror image technique. Basically, he made 3 duplicates of himself. Think the Shadow Clone Jutsu from Naruto. Or, just, oh hey, there's 3 different dudes. One of them's real, the other ones are fake holograms, or whatever you want to say. Well, Toby was pissed, and he was focused on the King the entire time, and yeah, he hit him with the Fluffy Bunny, his great axe, and that just rendered the whole mirror image thing moot, so poof, disappeared, gone. And yeah, we did some fighting there. We all attacked the King in our own ways. And until he took a step back on his next turn and cast Circle of Death. Basically, a 60-foot radius sphere that causes up to 8d6 necrotic damage, on a failed Constitution save, or and the damage increases by 2d6 for each level above 6th level. So 7, 8, 9. It can get crazy, but we withstood the attacks as best we could, but soon the battle was clearly going against our team. Elle and Burgle being me, we fell first. From a crazy attack from the mighty legendary mace that the Shadow King has, which I can't remember the name of. I apologize, but I will talk a bit more about it later on. Little Ass Kicker fell next. Then Toby and Goku did their best to stop the king, but they too unfortunately fell. Really quick, before you guys are like, oh no, like total team wipe or whatever, like that was not the purpose of this fight. It was just the story cliche of the big bad guy, asserting their dominance over the heroes of the story. Connor didn't really give us a reason why, this fight was going on. It was just, hey, we're doing it. A good thing that we got from this was, Connor got to see, like, how well we perform now versus, like, what he's going to have to do to make the fight more crazy and interesting for the final, showdown. So there's that value in that. And honestly, we surprised him with how well we did. Basically, really quick, some of the stats for this. Of the 500 plus health that the king had at the start, we wore him down to about 150 damage, 150 points. 500 plus points down to 150. And keep in mind, we were level 10s going up against a level 20. At the very least, Warlock, I think he said, he was something else. I can't quite remember, but yeah. So, basically just made Connor go, okay, I'm going to have to give the king some upgrades for the final fight. So, yeah. So that was basically the entire campaign, was dealing with the Shadow King. So we're left, unfortunately, on a cliffhanger because, personal stuff came up. And, yeah. So, what happens to us after the king defeats us? What happened to the queen? What happens to the city? Yada, yada. We don't know until next game. I will tell you guys about it when we get there. But I have some quick, side Brad notes. Just casual observations and just some other world-building stuff that I want to talk about really quick. Really quick, Connor told us we would gain 2 levels for the fight with the king. The first, for facing off against the king himself. Apparently this is a Confucius quote. There are 1,000 lessons in defeat, but only 1 lesson in victory. So that's kind of what I'm taking from it. Like, hey, it's showing us, yeah, we got to get stronger and we got to get better. We're not nearly on this guy's level. Which is kind of like a good, which is understandable because we had an issue with war, obviously, in the last campaign, fight, whatever, episode. And then we also got the second level. Basically, Connor justified it because we did so well in the fight. For me, my story justification for it, is, it made us, really realize how much we have to train and become stronger and more powerful. And, like, we did some cool, crazy, interesting things to wear them down and keep each other going. But, yeah. And, but yeah, I really liked it. I think it was a cool story thing. So, keep it up for the campaign. And then this is, just some quick personal notes. A quick bit about Burgle. Basically, at the end of the last session, we'd hit level 10. And because of my class as a bard, I unlocked additional magical secrets. Basically, I can choose 2 more spells that are of a level that I can cast. I picked up Death Ward, which basically renders any attack that would put me at 0 HP. Any attack that would kill me, 0 HP, will leave me with 1 HP instead. And God, and also Mage Armor. Basically my AC is 13 plus my Dex modifier whenever I cast this spell. I chose those spells, because they sound useful, but I also feel like there's good story reason to them as well. Obviously, after... God dang it. Obviously, after the fight with War, Burgle will be panicked to a degree. We lost Eragon. How are we going to avoid losing anyone else? Being with the College of Lore, my research, I do my research when there was time. So unfortunately, there's no time really right after the funeral, and there's no time really. There's no time after the funeral because we were grieving, and then there's no time, the next morning because the orcs attacked. So I'm hoping Connor's going to say, okay, you guys take a few days or a week or whatever to recover from the fight, and we'll go from there to justify it story-wise. In that recovery time, Burgle's going to be poring over magical books and trying to learn, mage armor from Elle, because Elle used to use it a lot before she got the wedding ring that made her AC better than that, and yada yada. I'm trying to do this quick because I don't want to take up all my phone space. But yeah, he's also looking to learn what he can about the king and try and make things work. And also I like to just imagine the little scene of, him sitting in a hospital bed, and Michelle's caring for him, like, oh, you really need to rest up. You've been poring over these books for hours. It's like, Michelle, I can't, okay? We were nearly killed. We lost Eragon. I can't do this, okay? I have to do this to try and protect myself and to protect everybody else and to protect you. Trying to reread my notes really quick. Obviously that is definitely kind of a Brad parallel bleeding over into the character of Burgle, and it makes sense for his character, I feel like. Also, I feel like another quick personal thing with Burgle is, he feels the need to prove himself as worthy. I mean, I'm grouped with a paladin, a fighter, and a warlock. One of the important things Burgle brings to the table is healing, because of mass healing, as well as, a couple of uses of heat metal that I've gotten. I used it to make one of the orcs drop his axe. And I've also used it to hurt other people in a few fights. So basically, in the end, it was just another fun, excellent adventure. I had a lot of fun. There's some cool story growth going on, and yeah, so it was fun. Thank you, Connor. Thank you, David, Regina, Marissa, Brett, for taking part in the game, and I cannot wait until we get to our next game. Hopefully you guys are sticking around for these videos, you're listening to this stuff. And hey, if you have any interest in D&D stuff, feel free to hit me up. Maybe we can figure something out. I did talk about wanting to do my own campaign at some point, but I just gotta figure stuff out and yada yada. But I think it'd be fun to try and play around with. But yeah, so that was episode 5. Long live the king. So until next time, everyone, have fun, stay safe, keep hydrated, and of course, remember, every character has a story to tell. I'm Valiant Bradley James, I'm Burgle, and I'm a D&D player. Peace.